Hello folks, welcome to my 6th playthrough of 2D6 Dungeon. I'm the Lone Adventurer. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon this video and choosing to join me on this adventure. If you haven't seen the other parts in this series, I'll pop links in the description below and a link to part 1 up in the corner of the screen right about now. So we're coming to the end of this video series because I'm only going to be covering level 1. In terms of when you finish a level and start the next level, we've got some details here that says more often than not, the last room is the final room on the journey through the level. Now, if we look at my map at the moment, we have got potential rooms here, although I don't know if that's big enough to fit a room in. I don't know if there always has to be a gap between rooms or whether they can butt up against each other. Yeah, I think there always has to be a gap between rooms because of the way entrances work. So probably there's not enough room for a room there. It'd just be a dead end. And I think that's probably not necessarily the case up here because rooms can butt up against the edge. So that could be a room. We could have a corridor here to a room. We could have a room here. We could have several rooms here potentially, something down here. So there's still quite a lot of places where we could have a room. So in terms of reaching the last room, if we took it at face value there, we might be here quite some time. It is potentially near the top of the page with at least 75% of the dungeon area covered. So, I mean, we've certainly, by the end of this video, we'll definitely have 75% of the area covered, if not almost already. Spaces that are clearly dead ends do not have to be explored to complete the level, but the last room may be a dead end, and so add the stairs here. Sorry, I skipped ahead. This is the bit that I wanted to highlight. Knowing it's the last room is about understanding your forward momentum. Your path will have led to this last space. You might have left random rooms unexplored, doors you did not open, but would have led to dead ends and are therefore blocked on all sides. So I guess my point is you take responsibility for the forward momentum of your game. If you think you're coming to the end of a level, then you declare it to be so, you reach the end of the level and you move on to the next level. And that's a decision for you, the player. So I guess the decision I'm making is that at the end of this video, we will come to the end of the level. Now, if you try and rush through the levels and get down to the lower levels quicker by saying, oh, the first room I come in is the last room, the forward momentum declares it to be so, then you will very quickly find yourself up against enemies that are too powerful for you and you will die. But I think like I've had a particularly lucky run of it at level 1, and therefore Bane, my character, is pretty much ready to crack on. We've gone up a level, we've ended up with a whole bunch of healing potions, so we'll do a few more rooms, and that will be that. There's a couple of other things I want to highlight. I know this is a bit of bookkeeping before we start, but I think it's worth just mentioning a couple of things that we haven't talked about yet. First thing I want to talk about is potion bombs. So potion bombs pretty much do what they say on the tin. You can throw them in combat. Oh, that's cool. So there's no penalty for throwing a potion bomb. So you are not prevented from attacking or quaffing a normal, good use of quaffing, a normal potion in the same round. Okay, so it's something you just throw in combat as kind of like a bonus. So again, this isn't something I've really needed to do because I've had such a positive run of things. I haven't needed these extra bells and whistles to get me through. But likely, as I get to level 2 and 3, I'll probably find potion bombs to be useful. Now, the reason I'm mentioning them now is because there's ingredients here that you need to collect to make a potion bomb. I think that's what the wax sealing kit is for, to help you make potion bombs. I might be wrong, but I think that is the case. So yeah, we've got ingredients, and I haven't really been thinking about this. I haven't been collecting anything that might be useful. Looking over this, there's not too much that I've missed out, but the flame jar requires a patch of hemp, so I could have taken a few more strips of the hemp rug, for example. That requires, this is the flame jar, requires crushed bone, a shrapnel burst. You could use splinters of wood, thread, teeth or fangs, So yeah, my point is, I could try and start remembering potion bombs and seeing if I can gather a few bits of ingredients for them, potentially. Or, you know, I could just forget, because that's more likely, isn't it? Oh yeah, and the final thing I want to talk about is calling for favour. So we've been talking about favour of the gods a fair amount, but I've never actually called for favour. Okay, so as long as you have one favour point with a god, and we do with a couple of gods, you may call for their favour with a d6 favour roll. If you roll equal to or below the total favour points you have with that god, you gain their favour and are gifted one reward. Yeah, and if you do so unsuccessfully, you keep the favour points. If you do so successfully, you lose the favour points. So we have got one favour point, so not a lot. This is why I've kind of been ignoring it. One favour point with Meduva the Rot, and one with Neverzator the Blind. So if we wanted to call on their favour, we'd have to roll 1d6, and if we got a 1, we would successfully receive their favour, which would give us a bonus. But obviously, not much of a chance. But I could be doing that if I thought I needed to, in order to gain favour with these particular gods. So Neverzator the Blind, he gives you his protection, +3 when rolling on RFUT 1. Oh, okay, so that's the table you roll on if you get really close to death, I think. So he protects you in situations where you're actually gonna trot off the mortal coil. So he's like a last fail-safe for you. Meduva the Rot, you can, its gift is you can no longer be poisoned or infected as you are now blessed by Meduva. Oh, is that permanent? Okay, so I guess Meduva's bonus is permanent. You aren't able to get poisoned or infected anymore, so that's quite handy. I think let's just double check so we know when you do those rolls. Oh, okay, nice and simple. You can do it whenever you want. So you can do it whenever you want. Start of the combat, middle of the combat, as you're just wandering around, and then you get the favour of the god. Let's leave the waffling at that for now, and just crack on with a new room, I think. It's about time. Right, so let's take our intrepid adventurer Bane over into this top right-hand corner. Now, let's start down here. Let's go over this way. Bring that into shot a little bit. It's a corridor. 6 by 1 corridor. How many doors? 3 doors, obviously. Okay, we're going to reduce that to 2 doors because I don't think there's any point in taking a door down in that direction. There's hardly any point in having a door over in this direction, actually. Because don't forget, the way all rooms work and corridors is you have to have an entrance. So this is my entrance square, and then this is my entrance square at the other end. Okay, that's fine. So we could have a little old room at the end there. Then we'll have an entrance up this way. Remember, off corridors, they are always archways, so there's not going to be a possibility of any doors. Not that we've had a lot of door action on this level, but I guess maybe that's the way the level is designed. Maybe the doors get tougher as you get further down. In fact, I suspect they probably do. Righto, let's crack on. Let's go over this way. See what we've got. Maybe a little teeny-weeny room of some kind. Okay, well, it would have been a massive room. Interesting. So we've got a 5 by 6 room. Now, obviously, that can't be the full width because we've only got 2 squares to work with, so it's going to be 2 by 6. So we'll go down there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to there, and then across. We're going to have any doors in here? Yeah, we're going to have 2 doors apparently. That's fine. We will have one going up and one going this way. I think when we roll for this room, we will declare the room to have a width of 3, because that's very clearly what's going to be there, and then we'll just roll for the height so we know how tall the room is. But right now we're in this room here, which is our 10th room. We need to find out what is going on in there. So we'll turn to the codex, the table's codex, and in here In the blue section, we'll look for, not this table, this is level 2. Level 1 rooms of human ancestry, the entry. So that is all the room tables. This is the main room table that we've been rolling on in this level, in this whole video series. 41. I feel like we had 41. Small shrine. We have had a small shrine. It's not unique though. You can always have 2 small shrines. And we need to roll on GOT1 to identify the shrine's god. Okay, so which god are we having here? 1 is a new god, Grakada the Core. So let's just remind ourselves of the small shrine. This room is bare apart from a small stone shrine set into the wall. So we have rolled on GOT1 to identify the shrine's god. When offerings are correctly applied, gain 1 favour point. Nice and simple. Okay, so I'll just update the info here. Okay, so I've drawn in our small shrine over here. I've made a note here that our 10th room is a small shrine to Grakada the Core. Let's have a little look at Grakada. Appears as an old woman wearing a heavily textured shawl, upon which are clumps of mud. Her face is cracked and rough like twisted lava. Her gift is she enchants 1 piece of armour. Roll on EN81. And the favoured items are stone, rock, earth, sand, coal, forged metal and diamond. I don't think I really have any of those things right now, so we'll just pop her over there and we'll carry on into this room. So as I was saying, we're only going to roll for the height of the room. I'm going to predetermine that the room is 3 squares wide. Okay, and the room is going to be 5 squares high. Now we've already got, oh no, because this one that we're coming into is the entrance. So we've only got 2 exits at present. If we roll a 6, we'll have a 3rd exit. No, okay. For the purposes of our game here, this room is essentially a dead end because we've been into the other areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what's going to be in room 11? 51. 51 gives us a morgue. Oh, a stone chamber has been added here. The floor is bloody. Inside lays a corpse on a slab. There is an artisan here who you must fight. If you survive, you find some herbs. Roll on HST1. And we've got wooden doors out. The last room, the small shrine, should have had random exits. I forgot that. But we will ignore it, I think, just to keep things moving. These should have been random exits. We'll put a random exit there. We'll pop an exit up there. These exits should be wooden doors, but we've already been through them, so it's kind of neither here nor there. And this is a morgue. I'm just going to draw that in, write that up, find the artisan who we're going to fight. Alright, so we've got our artisan here. We'll look at that in a second. I've drawn in our morgue, and before we go any further, let's just find out what type of exit is from our small shrine up here. So we've got a exit type table, which is a 2d6, a d64 table. 63 gives us portcullises. Portcullises, well that's our first portcullis, isn't it? I have no idea how you deal with portcullises at all. So we've got this little doorway symbols chart here, so we can see what a portcullis looks like, and we'll work that out if we beat the artisan. So here is our artisan, a skilled worker who has spent many years learning their art. They are not a fighter, but are well coordinated and wear sturdy leather work clothes. They will defend their home. Alright, fair play to him. He has got 3 HP, gives us 5 XP, shift of 1, got some treasure there and some silver coins, that's pretty cool. And he's got an interrupt couple. He can deflect on secondary 1s, so that I do 2 less damage to him. And he can distract on secondary 6s for -1 damage. Am I going to have to think about those? Let's have a quick look at my attacks. So our secondary dice are 2s and 4s. So he does interrupts on secondary 1s and 6s, so we're never going to have to think about that. And he's got one attack, which is a jab on 5/4 to do, or not much damage, 1d6 -3. He's not going to present too much of a danger to us. Let's get to it. Round 1, here we go. God, how far are we into the video? And this is our first combat. So this is me attacking. So we've got 1, 3, and we've got 2 shift. So that's great. We can actually shift that to a 2/4, allowing us to cleave, which does d6 -1 damage. Hey, 1. Okay, no damage. Fine. Then he's going to attack me. 2/2. Remember, he's got to get to a 5/4, so there's no way to do that. On to round 2. My turn to attack. 1, 5. Hey, we can do a cleave again, because we can increase the 1 to a 2, decrease the 5 to a 4, allowing us to attack. 1d6 -1. 3. So that's doing 2 points of damage to him, meaning he's got 1 point left, meaning he can have a go at attacking again. 4/2. He cannot get to a 5/4 from that. On to round 3. Bane attacks. 2/5. Oh, we're being pretty lucky here with the cleaves. We can shift that to a 2/4. Here we go. Unless I roll a 1, he's dead. 2. Not high rolling, but enough. Right, we get 2d6 silver coins. Let's do that first. 10 silver coins. Taking us to 21 silver coins. And roll on PT1 -2. Sounds like one of the good old pouch tables. Pouch table 1, so we're going to be rolling 2d6, adding them together and subtracting 2 because he doesn't carry a lot of good stuff. 10, 8, there are some Maleko leaves inside. I think I've already got a pouch with some Maleko leaves. I've got 2 pouches with Maleko leaves, well I've now got 3 pouches with Maleko leaves. I'm just going to check the room table to see whether there was any kind of reward for clearing the room. Oh yeah, that's right, we found some herbs, didn't we? HST1. Herbs. 1d6. 5 gives us Scarlet Oreovatus. Scarlet Oreovatus. Do we have a spare pouch we can put that stuff in? Yes, we do. So herbs can be used to make herbal remedies. Oh look, Maleko leaves, we can just chew them to heal 1 HP. I did not know that. Good to know. And then what can we use this Scarlet Oreovatus in? We can use them in a medicated bandage and can be used in a health paste. Both sound very handy, but I've got loads of healing potions, so we don't really have to think about that right now. This room is done, so I could either try and work out how to do a portcullis, or we could go back through this way. If I'm honest, I'm feeling a bit too lazy to work out the portcullis right now, so I think we're going to go up here and go through here. Let's see what room's over there. A corridor. A corridor 5 long. So we're going to be going at least that far before we get to a door. Did I say there or did I say there? Maybe we'll say we're going this way. I think that might have been what I said anyway. Right, so this is our entrance square here. Right, so let's draw 2 squares to start with. How many doors off this corridor? 2. So we'll have 1 at the end and 1 going up. Does it not look like all of these corridors are leading to one gigantic final room Wouldn't that be nice? Probably they'll all lead to more corridors, but we will see. Let's go over this way to start with. Okay, we've got a 3 by 3, which is actually going to be a 3 by 2. How many exits? 2 exits. So 1 up and 1 down. So not a big room by any stretch of the imagination. So we're going to have 1 exit up here, 1 exit down here. Now this exit, once we've added on the exit square, entrance square, we've just got this 1 space. So I think in order to make everything nice and neat and tidy, we'll just join those up, and then we won't have to worry about the portcullis. Just wonder why there's a portcullis there. Why not, I suppose. This is going to be room number 12. Now this room, as a number of rooms have done, goes up against the edge of the map. And what that means, and what I haven't mentioned up until now, is that we could look for an exit. So when you're on the outer boundary of the level, you can roll d6 for each square adjoining the dungeon edge. If you roll a 6, you have found an exit shaft, and you can mark it with an E. So this allows you to exit the dungeon and to head into town. And in town you can do a bunch of different things. You can visit the engraver, the herbalist, you can buy rations, you can have fun and games in the tavern in the evenings. There's a few fun little mechanics there. You can also liberate prisoners, but we never found any prisoners, or at least we haven't so far. And you can only exit the dungeon from a square that goes up against the edge. You can only do it once per level. So if we found an exit, we'd go out, we'd go to the town, we'd come back, we'd carry on until we find the stairs down to the next level, and that's that. You can't, on that level, do it again. But we're not even going to do it once, because once again, we're quite healthy, and I think I'll leave that for you to discover on your own adventures. Let's find out what room number 12 is. 64. I've just realised that room number 12, being a room of only 6 squares, is actually a small room. So we need to roll on the small room table. We can stick with the same roll, but instead of using them as the 1s and 10s digits, 64, 64, we actually add them together to give us 10. 10 gives us a heated space. There is a small burner here that is lit. The space is warm, flickering shadows cast across the space. If you dry yourself, roll on L1P. There's nothing else in the room. Okay. So it's a heated space. I guess we could make a note of that just in case we get wet at some point. We can come back here and dry off and then carry on into the next room. Whoa now. 6-6. Okay, so we have ended up with a gigantic room as I was hoping. Now I think I rolled a 6-6 before in this room here, and somebody in the comments pointed out that for most double digits, if you roll a 2-2 or a 3-3, you roll the dice again and add them on, but you don't do that for a 6-6. A 6-6 is considered a big enough room as it is. So actually, what we got here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so if we do that, I think what we will do is declare this the final room. So just because I like things neat, we'll join that up there. And that's our final room. These other ones are going to be dead ends, so I might just dead end them now. And this is room 13. Unlucky for some. Is it going to be unlucky for Bane? We're going to roll on the large room table. This is a 2d6 table. 5 gives us a penitentiary. The northeast corner is being used to hold captives. There are whips and knives on a table. The floor is covered in bloodied straw. Fight a jailer and then roll on ENP1. What an exciting end to the level. Alright, so I've drawn in our penitentiary. I've forgotten to shade it. Hang on, I'll do a little bit of shading. There you go. It doesn't make much of a difference, but, you know, pay attention to the small things. We have got some steps which will go down to the next level. So this is where we will be finishing our adventures with Bane on camera, and I'll carry on to level 2 in my own sweet time. And this is our final enemy, the Jailer. Being a Jailer has made them tough, but their skill in combat is limited as they come forward wrapping a chain around their knuckles, a mad look in their eyes. 6 HP, 10 XP, 1 shift, got some treasure. There's a barge on secondary 2s. I think we do have an attack with a secondary 2. So that's -2 damage, and has got 2 manoeuvres, a sharp kick and a punch on a 5-1 and a 3-3 respectively. Before we get to it, I forgot to do the XP. You didn't think I was going to remember that, did you? But I did. 5 XP for the Artisan. So we'll just pop that on, taking me to 1, 4, 3. Still quite a long way off the next levelling up opportunity. I'm attacking first. 3-3. Sounds promising. So we can change that to a 3-2, a hack. The hack has got a secondary 2. He does his barge, his interrupt on secondary 2s, and I think we can actually go to a cleave at a 2-4, which does 1 less damage than a hack, but if I do a hack, he can barge and interrupt and do 2 less damage, so it works out better this way. Let's see how much damage we do in. 3 -1, 2 points of damage to start with. He's going to attack back, as you would imagine. 4-1. Oh ho, he can do a sharp kick. He can shift that to a 5 and do a sharp kick. Now let me just check my armour. I've got a quilted coat, so not much in the way of armour. I really do need some better armour as we go down to the lower levels. That's not going to help. That's only if the opponent rolls a 3 that does anything. So he does his sharp kick, which is d6 -2 damage. Oh, 6 he rolls. He rolls a 6. Not me though. So that's 4 damage, taking me down to 11. Jailer has actually got a bit of game. Going into round 2, maybe I'm going to be a little bit more cautious, or take him a little bit more seriously as an enemy. Let's see if I can do some damage. 6-2. Ooh, that's not good, is it? Because I can't shift the 6 to a 3 or a 2 with my mere 2 shift, so I'm going to miss. Alright, not to worry, he's going to attack back. 2-2. Now he's only got 1 shift. If he had 2 shift like me, he could shift to a punch, which is 3-3, but he can't, so sucks to be you, Jailer. Round 3, I attack. Ooh, that doesn't look good. 1-6. No, with my 2 shift, I can't shift to anything, so I'm missing again. He's attacking. 3-3. He's done a punch. Unbelievable. At least I can use my quilted coat. Let me just make sure. I'm confident that I can, but just let me look at the armour section so that I am correctly explaining how it works. So my quilted coat has a dice set of 3, and if it's just a single digit, it means that it's on primary rolls of that number. On a primary roll of 3, which he has done, I get to do the engage the protection that the armour gives me, which is -1. So we're going to roll for his damage. He's already rolling at -3, but I get to do a -1 as well, potentially. So that's what's happened. He's done 4 -3, which would be 1, but my armour increases my protection by an additional 1, which means he's doing no damage. So let's go into round 4, and now we're both getting an additional 1 shift. This is me first, Bane first. 3-2, that sounds good to me, because we can shift that to... Well, actually, we can shift the 3 to a 2, and we can shift the 2 to a 4, because we've now got a total of 3 shift, and that uses all our 3 shift, which means we're doing d6 -1 damage. 5 -1 is 4, and that is enough to finish off our final enemy. Alright, with him finished off, we're rolling on pouch table 1. Pouch table 1 at a +1. 6, 10, 11. So obviously when I go back to town, I'll... Ooh, which is worth 6 gold coins. That's quite a lot, I think. Resist magic. Sounds handy. That's my last potion that I can carry before using one. Time. And then I think, wasn't there also... one, so that's obviously some kind of prisoner table. Gonna have to look that one up. Encounter prisoner table 1, page 34. Okay, so we've got some potential prisoners here. Let's... 8. Inside a cage here is a wounded man. If you have some material to bandage the injury, he survives and can escape. Do I have material? A cloak? I could rip up my cloak. I mean, it is worth money, but I think this is worth it, but I just wasn't organised enough to do that. Let's rip up the cloak. We will use that as material. And then we have to look at L1P. Main rulebook. And the way it works is you mark a liberated prisoner somewhere. Where's the liberated prisoner bit? There. Then next time we go to town, we will look him up and find out if that liberated prisoner can sort of help us in any way. However, in terms of narrative, and if you remember, we encountered a girl earlier in the adventure, and she was looking for her father. Roll a 1, 2 or 3 is her father. 5. Well, there you go. I rolled high. The one time I needed to roll low. So it wasn't her father. We'll carry on looking. We'll carry on looking for the girl's father. But I think that might be it for the time being, folks. That might be it for the recorded adventures of Bane. He did very well. So far, so good. But level in to 10 levels that he has got to go through. So I haven't really fully yet, but I think you have to consume a ration and there's other stuff you have to consider. And then you start the whole process again. And when we do that, we'll be using level 2 enemies. In addition, or instead of, I'm not sure whether I just add these whole new deck, but we've got whole new guys. More tricky guy. And immediately I'm looking and seeing a barrack knight. He's got to be one of the more challenging ones, isn't he? He has 18 HP, gives you 88 XP, gives you all kinds of treasure, and he's got a bunch of interrupts and a bunch of manoeuvres. So you'll find yourself facing trickier and trickier enemies as you get further and further into the game. But that's 2d6 Dungeon. Thanks very much if you managed to make it through this quite lengthy series all the way to the end here. I hope you enjoyed it. There's links in the... If you want to find a copy of your own, there's links to Drive-Thru RPG, and there's a link through to Toby Jones's... You can pick up physical copies, you'll have to have a little investigate. But that's it, folks. Thanks very much for joining me for this extended adventure, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.